Hello, everyone. This is horror author James Hershey Jr. with the Staring Into the Abyss radio show. And on this episode of Paranormal News, I want to bring you a pretty awesome article from Fox News Channel. Okay, this is from foxnews.com, and it was published just 2 days ago, so it's hot off the presses, as they used to say. The title of this is Loch Ness Monster Might Be Real, according to new scientific study. And there we have a picture of Nessie. That famous picture that we've all seen. A major scientific study of Loch Ness has sensationally discovered Nessie might be real. Experts traveled the length of the famous loch on research vessel DeepScan, taking water samples from 3 different depths. The scientists collected DNA left by all creatures from their skin, scales, feathers, fur, and feces. The DNA samples were then sent to labs in New Zealand, Australia, Denmark, and France to be analyzed for the final findings. Professor Neil Gemmell of the University of Otago, New Zealand, and his team who carried out the project have now concluded their research. The professor, an expert in genomics, ecology, population, conservation, and evolutionary biology, now says the results were surprising. He says they tested the DNA against most of the main theories about the Loch Ness Monster. Professor Gemmell says while the full details will be released at a later stage, one of the theories might be correct. 2 main theories about the monster are it is a long-necked plesiosaur that somehow survived the period when dinosaurs became extinct, or it is a sturgeon or giant catfish. Professor Gemmell said he hoped to announce the full findings of the study in Scotland next month, but would not confirm which hypothesis might be right. He said, quote, "Is there anything deeply mysterious? It depends what you believe. Is there anything startling? There are a few things that were a bit surprising. What we'll have achieved is what we set out to do, which is document the biodiversity of Loch Ness in June 2018 in some level of detail. We've tested each one of the main monster hypotheses, and 3 of them we can probably say aren't right, and 1 of them might be. It was hoped the study's findings would be published earlier this year, but a series of failed attempts to film a television documentary delayed the process. Negotiations with a series of production companies ended without a deal. Hundreds of thousands of visitors flock to Loch Ness every year to try and catch a glimpse of the mythical monster. Nessie is worth millions of pounds to the Scottish economy, and tourist bosses previously said they are eagerly anticipating the results. Announcing the study last year, Professor Gemmell said, "Scotland is dear to my heart, because my mother and her family are Scottish. I'm delighted to be here to undertake our environmental DNA investigation of Loch Ness. It's a place of extraordinary natural beauty. We're delighted with the amount of interest the project has generated in the science, and monster or not, we are going to understand Loch Ness and the life in it in a new way." And that is the end of the article. Now, I thought this was a cool article because it's saying that one of the theories about Loch Ness might be correct, and it's on Fox News website, so it's on a reputable site, and it's based on an actual scientific study of the loch. The only thing that concerns me here is that they are talking about right here that they didn't release the findings because there was a series of failed attempts to film a television documentary. So they were trying to make a TV show out of it, and it failed multiple times. It said negotiations with the series production companies ended without a deal. I wonder if that means that there wasn't much exciting in the documentary. That's why they didn't want to air it. So what we might be looking at here is kind of a letdown when it actually does come out. But who knows? They haven't released it yet. They're saying one of the 3 might be correct. That it could either be a plesiosaur that has survived, it is not extinct, but is instead actually living in the loch, or it could be a sturgeon, or it could be a giant catfish. Now, I happen to think that Nessie is a plesiosaur. I've said that on multiple shows. But one thing you need to understand is if the Loch Ness Monster, okay, Nessie, is a plesiosaur, that means it is not just a single Loch Ness Monster. It's not just one plesiosaur. That's impossible. A plesiosaur is a dinosaur. It's not a supernatural creature that can live forever. There must be a breeding population of these things in the loch in order for it to still be here. since the time of dinosaurs. So there has to be enough Nessies to continue to breed and to make more little Nessies generation after generation. And there also has to be enough genetic diversity so that it doesn't become too mutated and just die off. Because if you get too close of inbreeding going on, you get a lot of mutations and you end up with extinctions. So that is the article. Let me know down in the bottom in the comments what you guys think. Do you believe, like I believe, that the Loch Ness Monster is actually a bunch of plesiosaurs that still live in the loch? They did prove that at one time the loch was connected to the sea, so it would make sense that at that time period plesiosaurs were around. They could have swam into the loch and became landlocked when it sealed off. It's a possibility, and the description of all the eyewitness accounts matches that to me. I think it's a plesiosaur 100%. But do you believe that, or do you think that it is a gigantic lake sturgeon, which is just a big fish, or that it's a giant catfish, which also is a big fish? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and let me know also if you think that this is just going to be a teaser. It's going to be a letdown. It's going to come out and they're going to say, oh, we think it just might be a fish because there's fish in there or something. Or if you think this is actually going to be some kind of proof that the Loch Ness Monster actually exists. So as always, it's up to you guys to decide. Let me know what you think, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you on the next one. And until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.